Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GANs processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
To be explained. This breaks all the known world of plasma physics, all the knowledge in the present world of physics. But you all can relate to it, you can all understand it, and in the years to come, the world of physics and physicists and plasma physicists will bash their head against each other. How could it be? But you have a reference. I will explain to you now how you can understand it. In the world of present physics, we consider a neutron. In the present world of physics, we have accepted the theoretical basis. This neutron, on its decay, it divides into a proton and electron. We know at the same time some energy is released. There's a huge question mark in the theoretical application of this division. The structure of the technology of understanding of the physics has to be on reality, not on assumption. It has to be on totality. It has to be continuous, that it can be followed and be acceptable. It has to be on the basis that we can go from one line to another. It has to be on the basis that we can replicate it. We can follow it and find replication of it. It has to be on the basis that not only the present science can understand, but becomes a foundation for the next generation of the physics or any other subject. In the present world of physics, there has been huge assumptions, and we have followed it through. We cannot do so anymore. We cannot understand what the difference shall be. One of the main problems with us and with this line of teaching has been that the science and understanding of present science has created a fundamental flaw that we have to put it right. In the nuclear physics, we have accepted the division of a neutron. We have accepted loss of some energy. We have not understood exactly, again, what is inside this thing. We assumed that a neutron is a plasma like this. If we look in what we have learned, and if we go in the depth of what we have learned from the creation of rotating plasmas, from the interaction of the soul of the man, we come to a new understanding. This is where the division in the world of plasma physics brings a lot of reality in the creation of new technology. Understanding both, we have to accept the reality. And that is, a neutron itself has a central field force, what we call the black hole of the neutron, where the field forces have to be to hold on to the structure of the neutron itself. So if you understand this, we come to a totally new physics, a new understanding, and this new phenomenon understanding gives us a very new insight. And then in the space technology, we can apply this. In fact, what happens, what we see to become an electron is the mother, the seed center of the neutron. It's this which breaks through and then on its own takes its place. That's why what you call in the present physics, one is smaller by dimension, but it can keep constant space and position from the center, where the bigger carries the major mass, but the smaller carries the stronger mass. So what we come to understand, the field forces come back together. So in fact, what we see for the creation of electron is the center point of the neutron, which is itself in what we call in the plasma of physics up to now, and what we saw in the construction of the soul of the man to be the center point, which as finds its new dimension in respect to its environment, then it releases itself and it divides. If you go back to the soul of the man, why the soul of the man leaves the body of the man at the point of death is because exactly what we see in neutron. The field forces around it to hold it lose their strength because the blood vessels around the brain lose the heartbeat. And that heartbeat changes the condition within the brain and allows the division or the center to release itself. This is in line exactly what we see in the world of neutron and soul of the man from the physicality of the man. There are 2 points which has to be understood. Does this soul itself become the center of creation of another? Now we understand more. Now we understand that for now that we understand the operation of the plasma and the soul and the structure of the cores which you have made, the single core cannot be any different with a GANS material inside it, which is the essence of the creation, any different than what we see in the world of reality, in the world of plasma physics, as we have understood and we can show. One of the reasons, as I explained, is most fundamental for us to understand that the soul leaves the body of the man when the heart stops, is that because the environmental pressure of the gravitational magnetic field, which is holding and feeding, is not there anymore. So the soul has to find a new position, a new division. This is why in the new knowledge and with the new technology and photographic systems we have, we can see the departure of the soul of the man from the brain of the man, from the head of the man through his brain continuously. In a coming time, we can indicate exactly when to call a physical body a non-functional, or we say it has ceased to live on this dimension. This is important because in this process, we need to be able to understand the totality. We went from the matter. We created the GANs, we created the magnetic gravitational field, we created the condition that fields in liquid condition of the body of a reactor, creating the hollow center, which is the controller of the totality as it creates gravitational magnetical field positioning. Then we understand simply, but we could never define what was inside which came to the division. Now for the first time we can explain. We are going more in depth into the plasma physics. If you look in the totality of what we had, in simplicity, now we can go a step further in the total construction of the neutron. If a neutron leads to a proton and electron, so electron should have had its own existence prior to departure. How come they're all the same size? How come they have the same strength? For 40 years, I knew the answer. But now, as I've educated you, you know the answer too. In fact, what sits in the middle as what we call the soul, which is itself totally a strong field, becomes the electron. What we see as the fields of energy which comes out is the opening of the passage of the truth for electron to be. Now the whole process has to redo itself and find itself a new balance. So shall electron find its own center again, till the time comes that the field energies of around will change. Now the world of physics needs addition to its present knowledge. The source of it. We just don't accept the neutron and the proton divides, and then they divide again, and then they divide again. So with the new present physics, and with what we add to the knowledge, it becomes essential for us to see the similarities, to see the work, to see the reality in the totality of the knowledge. So from now on, we add a new chapter to nuclear plasma technology. And that is, now we know every time a division comes is when the environmental conditions around change or absorb, and in that process, the center, the pressures which hold together the gases of the matter strength fields changes. So it gives a more powerful center a chance to be released. It forces it to be released because it cannot hold to the condition which it had before. A new understanding where at this point now this new center has to create balance between its fields, and it was with the others he started creating his own central field forces. These are essential if we travel into the space through time and through depth of the space. What does this give you? How can you apply this? How can you use this in the space technology that allows you to travel with the speeds beyond the imagination of the human race? This is how this universe was created. This is how, when the central point of the unicos of another neutron, another universe divided, the place in them is taking place, and we see our universe. The same here. This one is an amalgamation. So it does not have that much power to it, but it has a volume to it, where this one has a speed, this one has conjecture, this one, if understood, becomes the new way to travel at a higher speed with a higher strength. Where, in fact, if you look, the field forces of this, in trying to establish the next sphere, push the material at a higher speed. If man understands this, if man comes to comprehend the work of the forces, as you call the soul of the man with the body of the man, and the trajectory of the soul from the body of the man, which is exactly the same as if you had a craft, you could create field forces within the center, that by change of the fields, you change variation on the atmospheric condition or boundary condition of the fields you have created, man will be trajectoried into the deeper space in the speeds beyond imagination of the man. It's you who dictates the direction of the flow. It's you who decides the speed of the trajectory. This is how in space you can send packages of energy, information, whatever, from an aircraft, from what I call a spaceship. If you release such energy in the depth of the space, now you can see the weapon technology of today is obsolete. If man understands this knowledge, one can release so much energy within the structure of a neutron that can literally supply nations for centuries. Don't forget, we talk about one nation, one planet. You may understand the implication and understanding. There are a number of these resources in the universe which man has not understood to tap into yet. Now with the knowledge we have disclosed, it should be easy in the coming time for man to tap into these universal energy resources and be able to produce or receive as much energy as he needs. Very much we come to the point of development of, instead of nuclear reactors or whatever, we come to the point of delivery of the space energy systems, which means we can absorb with a new technology the energies of the universe and then tap into this. The resources and the understanding has to be there. The totality of the knowledge has to be there that you can relate to, that you can go further. First time we can explain, that is the center of neutron itself. As you look at the structure of the cores, rotating cores, which they have a center, and the fields, and then you have the matter states or the Ganser state. As by rotation you create a center, the way we have seen and we explained in the structure of the soul of the man, in the brain of the man. Now we understand the center of the neutron is the same, and he has a center, where by the change of the fields in his environment, then the center divides, and the balance of the energy, what is left here, becomes the proton, and what is in the center is electron, with a higher power that it can carry on with its random motion. In fact, if we look, we understand the whole three are the same. In the life of the man, when the blood circulation, which is surrounding the brain of the man, changes through the misfunctioning or stoppage of the heart, the environment changes and forces the release of the soul into a new dimension. So the creation of the soul and the division, or the, not the creation, the release of the soul from the central structure of the physicality of the man. The same way as a neutron division, which is electron and proton, is exactly the same. And then, as I explained, if you remember, some of us who did the test, creating deliberately a center core, a second core, and a third core, or we had a center core created in the middle, we have found some of our cores have disappeared, or we have lost them, we cannot find them. They have gone through the same process, where the field forces in the surrounding has forced the trajectory process. So, in all three, the creation of the release of the solar man, and the division of the neutron, or in the same as with the cores, where we see the release of the inner core is all the same. Now we understand. But now once we understood this, and we can elevate the knowledge of the man, we can dictate on the direction of this trajectory, or on the direction of the release of what you call the electron. This gives man a new dimension in the world of physics, a new understanding, and this will be written in the books of physics as a new chapter, going further into the structure of the material, going further in the structure of the plasma technology. As I said, plasma technology is the next step after atomic and nuclear. Now we spoke with the fields, now we have to speak. When we say nuclear, it means we deal with the nucleus. Now we are going inside the nucleus, and we have parallels, so we can relate one to another. We can go from macro to micro. We can go from the brain of the man into the neutron structure and the man-made system, which confirms and complies with the same rules and regulations in the space. This is what, as I said, will shock the world of nuclear physics. For the first time, not only we say neutron is a plasma, electron is a plasma, proton is a plasma, we can show the birth of proton and electron. We can show how and where they are. In fact, it's the center itself which, due to the change in the surrounding, in the strength, gets released. And as it's released, trying to find a new balance, it creates a new life for itself. And this comes back to be the same. That's why we see not much change in the size of the electron, proton and neutron, because it's the center which has changed, and now this in rotation, and the forces from this have to create a second process, and this will go on. It's the same as the creation of life on this planet and the universe.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 420th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 17th, 2022. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be host today as usual in these workshops. And as usual, we are also joined by Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who I think is there in the background ready to go, but I'm not sure because he was in transit a while ago. Hello, Mr. Keshe, are you there?
Yes, good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever we listen to this series of knowledge seekers of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute teachings and adding to the knowledge. It is coincidental and it's happening much more often than before. Just before we start the session, Rick says there's such a intro I would like to play. And I told him, yes, this is what part of the teaching of today would be. And we add to this knowledge. We have to understand more and more of this knowledge. We have to understand why what we had in the present physics was accepted, but never understood the reason for it. What happens in the totality of the knowledge of the matter and plasma, and how we interact in the matter state, how we interact with the plasma state. And what is the next step in the world of science? We have to understand from now on, we have no choice. We are responsible for our own existence to be able to understand the Porter state. This is the time of Mitra, which means for the first time we see the soul and we see the physicality, and we can interact and interchange the energy fields of one to the other. This is the time of the creation. This is the time of understanding the process of creation. Why, up to now, in a matter state, we said we can mix these kind of materials together, but we cannot do that. Why can we mix water or liquid parts, some of them together, and still some stay separate? Why can we make alloys of some matter states, but not of the others? But does this apply in the dimension of the plasma state of the same entity? Go back to book number 3, or number 2, or number 1, and read in certain parts, it's been explained fully. There is a picture of gases, different colors, sitting on top of each other, where we say gases don't mix. How many times you have created gases in your system and you see the green in one place, white in the other, different shade of whites together? Because the same as in the world of matter state, gases, plasmas have the same interference, they have the same separation, they have the same interaction with each other. Now we can explain scientifically, and we can create a condition that shows the science of the new plasma is correct in both matter state and the plasma state, because the matter state itself is another plasma state, but in a different condition of field forces. In the world of matter state, we have learned, we change the pressure, we change the temperature. We start from the water when the matter state, or we can start in what I call ice as a solid state. Heat it up, we get the liquid. Heat it up, we boil it, we get the steam. We heat it up beyond the steam, we get the separation. What happens? How do we heat up in plasma state? How do we create a condition of separation of fields of the plasma? There is no heating. We have confirmed that in many researches and many developments in the reactors. In the condition of the matter state, we change atmospheric pressure and temperature to change the manifestation of the physicality. What do we do in the plasma state? We can't heat up, nothing happens. In the plasma state, we change the strength of the magnetic field of the environment. This leads to interaction of more fields or less fields of the plasma with its environment, and it creates and directionally indicates which way it is going. Is it losing or is it gaining energy from its environment? One color up in green is gaining, one color down in yellow is losing. One color up in green, it means I'm a lover. It means I want to give. I see the soul in that green color. I rejoice because I can attain something from it. It can elevate me. I go and see the brown. Do I have to give enough? My job is, my responsibility is to give enough to elevate it to my color at least, or elevate it to become a green that it can give to the others. We change the environment by addition of fields. In matter state, we change the condition by heating, by pressure. Will it come to the point that if we change the magnetic field of the environment of the matter state, we'll see the change in the matter state of the body of the man, or in the water? Of course we will, but we never understood this. This is the job of the soul of the man. This is the job of the central position, strength, will force of the existence. You have a problem with your son. You change the beautiful gases which gave life to it, to the solid state more to create a cancer. State is the same. How come a soul decides to go to the strength that become a stone? Still has a feeling, but it cocooned itself in it. In the world of what we call astrophysics or cosmology, or anything to do with a space travel in the universe, what happens if you enter an environment that you feel for soul to survive, it needs to be in a given state. Doesn't matter how long it takes. You become a stone. You become a rock. You change the feel of it. You're still inside, aware of the environment, what's happening. But staying at the rock is good for me. I can survive till I find a solution. Or it's another position, I just stay. Or I want to become a shape of the entity at the point of manifestation, feel the strength. Then you understand. It's us through the emotion, feel the strength, that we can change the strength of the plasma. This is why emotion is so important. And this is why maybe for the first time you understand why I put so much emphasis on the emotion. Emotion is that additional heating. Emotion is that additional feel the strength that the soul of the man in conjunction with the soul of the position decides to manifest itself to distance or to come closer. When you take Earth and move it back to Saturn and Jupiter position, you get gaseous. Move it, change the field of strength and bring it forward. You get more solid with less and no gases. Isn't this what happened to the life of the man? At a young age, when we are born, everything is free and interactive. As we add emotion to it, we create cancer, we create sadness, we create love, we create children. So we understand the strength, the change, what is to be manifested in the dimension of the physicality of the life of the man is the strength of the emotion, magnetic fields of the emotion, which adds to the soul, and the soul of the position and time and space changes. What was created out of love becomes the point of death and creation of cancer. The breast which feeds the child becomes the breast which creates cancer through the emotion that leads to the death of the mother. Now you understand why from the beginning we continuously emphasize on emotion. Emotion is that temperature, is that pressure which changes the interaction of the field of the plasma, and mankind has never understood. We call it psychosomatic, but somaticism comes out of the cycle, so out of the emotion, psychological pressures and strain. When we look at the brain of the man and we look at the structure of the different strengths of the different points, then we understand how even the emotion is created. And then we understand we have a parallel. We change the temperature, we increase it, we melt the ice, we melt the gold, we increase the love, the emotion of giving. We become givers, open up. There is no difference. We have chosen the same emotional effect to two different strengths of the field of the environment because the heat itself is a magnetic field interaction. Then we understand. This is why I continuously in past teaching try to explain the soul, the matter state, the soul, the matter state, that one day the knowledge seekers become wise. We chose in the past the same word for the same thing in different positions and application. We done the same in the world of creation, world of matter state, world of the creation of the soul. If I take love from you, you die. You become cold, you can't move because the love is not there. But I fell in love. Now I don't receive the love. I want to die. I want to go inside and not exist. Become a stone. I lower the temperature. I get ice. I heat up the temperature. I get liquid and vapor to be spread among the whole environment. This is where the world of science becomes important for us in the plasma technology. I reach at the point destination in space that I want to taste, I want to feel, I want the emotion of the environment. I create the plasma that the soul converts into the dimension of some of its strength into the matter state of the position and time in a given distance and position, but the soul can keep its integrity. The tip of the finger, the tip of the tail of the whale, distance from its soul. This is what mankind has to understand. He is in possession of that heating and the pressure called emotion. We have chosen the same word, magnetical and gravitational, heating and pressure, increasing the temperature or reducing the temperature. In essence, it's the same. We create expansion, we create dimension of openness within the structure. And then, if you understand this, then we understand why electron is being created, how some electrons interact with each other. I asked Rick before the teaching, go into the Wikipedia, and if you can, please find covalent bond. Why do we call in the world of chemistry covalent bond? What does it mean? Isn't it a point where the fields of the electrons can share and be together? We have chosen love as a covalent, where we can stay together. We can fall in love. In the size and the dimension of the life of the man, we call it falling in love, emotion of interaction. Now, it's the time to understand how we can bring the soul of the man to become material state, and how the soul of the physicality of the man can become the soul of the man in interaction and become what we call the covalent, which is the physicality of the man in interaction with the soul of the man and soul of physicality of the man. We coexist. And with it, we lead to the creation of the man. We lead to the manifestation of the new understanding of life. Now we understand if one electron from one atom shares its energy with another electron in another atom, doesn't matter how many other electrons are in there, and these two want to be together, the atoms come together. But they have to have the same strength. They have to have the same structure of field strength. In fact, a covalent bond is the relationship between the magnetic fields of 2 electrons or 4 electrons. And the rest have to accept. And in all structures, you always find is there are some lovers. This is what mankind has to understand. Because at a point in space, you want to become physical. You want to show yourself. You create a wrong strength of the emotion. You leave the door open for the whole universe that now I'm free, take what you like, and the demise of the soul. If you understand the control of the emotion, I want to be, but in respect to the fields of this environment, I want to see how my soul in the dimension of physicality will show on the surface of the moon or in the atmosphere of the planet Zeus. This is what we have to learn. We have to understand that allows us to become the man of the universe. This allows us to be able to transmute between the manifestation of the physicality and manifestation of the fields called plasma. Doesn't matter what strength that plasma has, at one point or another, in another strength field, will be manifesting itself, will be showing itself. And then, what do we call it? And then, by changing the temperature in the room, we see that mystery created in the pot from the ice becomes the water drops on the window with the change of the temperature of the environment. Where on the environment, on the cooking pot, given the strength, given temperature, given certain pressures, the water boils, the matter becomes a steam, and in the environment. And then in that environment, it's a different condition. We change the temperature and the pressure, we convert it back into the steam on the window. We give it the dimension of manifestation. The life of the man will be the same. The soul of the man is that environment of the room. And in interaction with the fields of the what we call its environment outside it creates its physical manifestation. The strength of the fields which interact dictates the position and condition of the manifestation of the what we call the plasma in respect to this environment. In a given environment, in a given condition, a field when it interacts with a matter state will create its own position and condition, what we call like viruses. You will take the same cell and change the strength of the fields of the plasma energy and bring them together. You see sometimes they interact, you see sometimes they don't, because they don't have a common denominator field, even though they respect each other's position. But once they interact as a given field of strength, you get that what you call virus. What happened if I tweak with the strength of the plasma before I introduce it to its plasma condition against the state, what we call the amino acid, it becomes hepatitis. It becomes AIDS. Tweak it a little bit, it becomes corona, and tweak it a little bit, it becomes every other virus we want to call it. We change the field of strength and interaction with what we call matter state condition of environment. Then you decide the manifestation of how these two show themselves, maybe as a crown, maybe as a different shape or format. In a way, there is no difference between the knowledge of the creation. Is man who has not understood this. Is man, through the lack of understanding of the world of interaction of the fields of the universe, has not managed to understand this position. But if I can create an environment that in this environment, this plasma has and wants to find a new position, then I can prepare that this plasma into any direction in the universe, be it to the boundary of the body of the man to make the shape of the man, be it the boundary of the galaxy or universe. Once we understand this, we understand the new transportation and transmutation of the element at the same time. This is where I put you into the vertical enhancement unit. I change you into plasma energy. I take you across to another dimension. I create the field of it. You'll come as a fish. And in another, you'll be a dog. And in another, you'll be a man from the planet Zeus. In fact, the center is the same soul. But in respect to the condition of his environment, has manifested itself in interaction of the emotion of the fields of itself and the environment to the thing with the soul would like to be to find its balance. We have the incarnation of the soul, or do we have the incarnation of the man? Or in the word incarnation is the wrong word to use, is understanding the field, position, and time in respect to evaluation and the manifestation of the soul. Do I reincarnate you from one machine to another? Or do I carry the soul and then the physicality reincarnates according to the position of that machine? I can put a machine on planet Zeus and a machine on Earth. I create the field that the soul of the man becomes one in the soul of physicality within it. I take you to the planet Zeus and I put you in the same machine with the field, the strength of the environment up there. The soul will come is to exist in the middle. And the physicality of the entity will have 20 arms, a head the size of a mouse, and arms the size of the planet. Because that's what dictates to keep the balance of the physicality, soul of physicality, and the soul of the man together. And imagine your next door neighbor turns up the same. You say, "Hi, Jack, how did you end up here? I know the soul, but you look a bit funny. You got 50 legs this time, but you're shorter than mine. I have 80 legs, 10 meters longer than you. What happened? Maybe my soul was a better giver, and here now I show myself in that dimension." Will that be the same when the soul of the man manifests itself in the presence of the soul of the Creator? What shall your soul manifest itself in the dimension, in the presence of the soul of the Creator? Soul of a giver, soul of a man, soul of a criminal, which is you don't give and you want to take, and there is no room for it till you learn that the giving is the beginning of the position of taking. Now you understand how the world of creation has no plasma, has no matter state, has no emotion, has no nothing. To you decide in what proportion the strength of the field of the universe you would like to interact with or you would like to share with. Next time, when you put the pot on the fire and you heat it up, call it love. And when you take the entity and you put it in the freezer, call it gravitational taking. Now we understand the world of the science is the same, depending on the condition of the strength of the environment and the interaction of the fields in that environment. Now, the world of chemistry, looking from plasmatic field strength of the electrons and protons, not as electrons in the matter state, has totally different meaning. Creates a new horizon in the world of the material development. Do I create the soul of the carbon, and with it, I get a carbon which is beneficial to the society, what it is, and I don't create a CO2, which you call it environmental global warming, which damages things. Then even that carbon has a soul to serve. Then what would be the strength of the soul of the man? What would the soul of the man be able to do to all the souls on this planet if it elevates itself to the soul, the strength of the soul of the Creator, and its love for Mitra? Mitra is amongst us and it's within us. It's grown to be part of us as is the mother of the creation of all of us. Now we have a physicality where we can praise the beauty of the creation of Mitra. What are we going to do when we realize the strength of dimension of understanding of the creation? Mankind has reached a point to walk away from making so many names for the same process. Now has to find a name in a dimension of emotion to understand how you change love to death, creating a child through the love of the body, to using the same body to create cancer, to bring the demise to physicality. Is the psychosomatic change of temperature or the change of pressure? Is that the magnetical or gravitational? Hasn't been the understanding of what we call the pressure gravitational and magnetical for the giving, for the love. Now we understand. You have a gravity and you have a magnetic field. You have a temperature and you have a pressure. How would you convert the emotion of one to the other, or carry in essence the emotion of totality? This is what I said to you. The teaching has changed and it will change because now you have to understand the parallel, the understanding of the fields of the plasma and the matter state, and what is what and how you can interfere and how you interact. The teaching of creation is the teaching to understand the interaction of the fields which led to that creation. There is nothing else in the world of creation except interaction of what in the world of cooking you want rice, you want potato. In the world of creation, you want plasma. You want free fields to be able to decide how to interact to become the rice or the potato. This is the part which I many times explain. Vegetarians say, I don't eat meat, I don't kill an animal. Have you forgotten? Every grain of the rice has a soul. Have you forgotten that you have fooled yourself by deferring and fooling yourself in what the strength feels you want to take? This is what we call, this is what we see, this is what we understand, this is what we interact with. This is where the world of creation takes a new dimension and meaning. This is where the world of creation, where the world of science, where the world of plasma, where the world of interaction of the fields creates for us to understand new dimensions, new understanding, new processes, new look in the whole world of understanding of the creation. Then, would you like me to increase the emotion of love, or would you like me to increase the temperature of the room? Would I melt you with my love, or would you melt in the temperature in the dimension of physicality? I can melt you with giving and loving, and the environment can melt you with temperature to burn, to liquidify. Doesn't this happen when the soul of the man leaves the soul of physicality in the coffin, that we become that liquid again? We change the state due to conversion of the fields of our own, or nothing else. Now we understand. We need to understand as we change the soul of the man to the matter state of physicality of the environment. Then, what is the next level of understanding? Why do we have to understand this? Because if we don't understand this, do not become the man of the universe. Do not become the travelers of the universe. Because if you get it wrong and don't understand the strength of the field of the emotion, then you'll be trapped in the liquidification of your matter state of emotion. And that will be not much good, because the soul will be free in so many ways. Or can I create a condition that I can call back in the matter state to be within me, that the soul becomes the carrier? What, in a hidden way, the interatomic fusion paper complains and confirms. The soul, the physicality of the man, is all interaction of the fields, of the environment, in respect to the plasma which has created the environment, and in respect to the matter state fields of the fields themselves that led to the creation of that plasma. In a way of understanding, I made man in the image of myself. And in that respect, if that is what the man is made in the image of, our own creator is conditional to strength fields of its environment and the love and the dimension he agreed to create life in the dimension of the soul. Does this mean that now we understand much easier the world of science? Now this means that we understand in much better way that everything being even in a matter state, electron condition, is the interaction of the fields and nothing else. If the two do not interact due to different field strength of the same electrons in combination of the totality of the field solar matter, you cannot mix it. But if you know the process, then you can create what you want. In Farsi, we have a beautiful saying. We say, if you wait, I can make from sour grapes the sweetest sweets. But I know, I need time. I need to understand the change of the position and the strength of the field. And then it becomes sweet. Then it becomes to what it can interact. This is what we need to understand. Time, position, feel the strength, and whatever you call temperature or pressure. But in essence, they all are manifestation of the interaction of the fields of the universe in different strength. And once we understand this, we can even become soul in the heart of a stone in the matter state. As is in the holy writings, even stone has a soul. Soul is the soul of the man within the stone of the body of the man. As sometimes man becomes so cold that the stone is much warmer than the existence of the metal. How much do we understand this? And how much we can change the field of strength to manifest the soul in the dimension of the physical. Then, can we understand this? And can we be able to bring the condition of existence into the dimension of the soul and vice versa? I hope you understood well enough what and where the technology is going. I hope now you understand where we sit with the new knowledge and have no fear to move from the dimension of the soul to manifestation of physicality, where the totality of the fields of the inertia, what we call the soul of physicality, has to interact with the soul to be able to give it the manifestation of presentation and observation. In a way, the soul of physicality is the inertia of the fields of the material states or condition of existence for the soul, but connected and controlled by the soul in respect to position and distance. The way it was said, the electron is released from the center of the neutron to find its own dimension and position in the trajectory of its fields to become the finger of the man, or to become the toe of the man, or become the cell of the heart of the man. Understanding this, the world of creation becomes much simpler. Becomes, in a way, a message between the soul of the man and the soul of physicality of the man. And in a way, the emotion, what you call emotion, becomes the prophet. The one between the two that they understand each other, the one which communicates between the two, and both give for the other to exist. Now we understand how the position and time in field strength and environmental field strength lead to the creation and the position of one or the other. Mankind is ready for that change. The race of the man is ready to understand the final point. The race of the man is ready to accept the knowledge of the creation. Not by force and by the books, but by the emotion of understanding the feeling of the creation, as there are no books and there are no words in the world of the creation of the universe. Many of you are waiting for next Tuesday, 22nd of February, to see what would happen. Would he manifest himself in the dimension of the creation, or would he become the creation of the understanding of the, what you call the Mehdi? Mehdi is within you. It's you who decides understanding and no one else. It's you who becomes part of and becomes to understand the totality of the whole creation. How do we understand? How do we go to understand? How do we find the comprehension of the totality? Don't need to be a professor or bricklayer or a child in the womb of the mother. We can understand the whole lot in 1 second. We can all be enlightened in a matter of time, zero time, place, and space. But have you understood the process of the creation? That is your freedom. When you understand the process, this is what you call the day of judgment. When you understand how to convert the soul of the man in the dimension of the soul of physicality of the environment to create that man, irrespective of the time, place, and position, call him black, call him white, call him Martian, and call him to come from planet Zeus. What I'll be looking for as the day when the Mehdi comes, when in fact the Mehdi is within us and we are part of his existence. Maybe as knowledge seekers, maybe we understand more, maybe we see more. What happens to us? What will happen to our emotion when we understand that it's us who has kept the truth away from us by lack of understanding that, and not understanding the reality that all dimension field of the strength of the universe are the same. We have chosen the wrong or different names for the same process. I've met the eyes. I've met your heart with my love. Is that temperature the same? Or is it the strength of the fields of different time, position, and space? Why do we become emotionless and feelingless in respect to one we loved so much once? Have we become that heat which has become pressure? Has it become that love which has become hate and separation? Isn't the same word, the same emotion for the same condition of environment? Then we'll see when we come the man of space, we decide what to fall in love at what temperature and pressure and one strength of the field of the emotion. Then at the point of manifestation, we decide to be the stone, the man, the bird, or the water. And it's done so naturally that we have never understood the totality of the creation. When you say, I love you, does it mean truly I love you? Does it mean truly that I give you so much that you show your beauty by falling in love with me to show me your love? Isn't that the true understanding of the world of creation is? Isn't that what we've been looking for all that time? Someone to fall in love with, that we can create from the manifestation of interaction of the field of the emotion of love, the children of the creation. Then we understand. Then we appreciate the totality of the creation. Then we understand that every one of us is the Mehdi of his own soul. And it needs one soul to feel that force in the dimension of the strength of the field of the emotion of the man, in the dimension of the love, what is created, that every other soul changes. And that can be instantaneous if one understands the true meaning of love. The true meaning of unconditional love, which comes from Mitra, in both dimensions of the soul and physicality, and in essence, unlimited access to the totality of the whole existence in all dimensions, position, and time. Are you in covalence with your lover? Or Have you decided that the fields of strength in one position cannot allow the mixing, and I want the change? I want not to be or in love or in interaction with the other. We define love. I define field strength. In the dimension of environment, we call it pressure and heat. In the dimension of the physicality of man, we call it hate and love, possession or giving, generosity or animosity. In what strength, to what extent mankind will be able to share the totality. To what strength mankind will be ready to bring that change. To what strength would mankind be ready to understand the essence of the creation. Maybe today's teaching brings you to understand where the transmission, transmutation, and transportation of the fields in the matter state, the elements of the condition of the plasma and the solar man will be. I made man in the image of myself. Is the man the image of the soul of the man? Or is it in essence the image of the soul of the creator, where the man is creator of life and himself is by itself? Then does it mean when you look at the man who wears a face of joy, laughter, generosity, is the reflection of his soul? And when you see the man so mean and so destructive, is the reflection of the soul wanting to gain without giving. Then when you see a man, you see the soul of the man, but the feature of the man. Then you go back to many teachings which are given. I know the man by walking in front of me, what man I have, because his feature shows me the feature of his soul. Cannot deny, cannot lie. The love of creation creates the creator, not the creator out of his love, the creation. Maybe we have understood the whole process of the creation back to front the wrong way, or maybe you have to understand one leads to another and another leads to the one. Now you understand why the teaching has to go this way, because you have to become aware of the existence and how you manifest yourself. Once I put you in the, what I call enhancement unit, travel you from one position to another. I'm coming from China, but I don't like to look Chinese. When I receive and arrive in London or in New York, I want to be blonde and blue eyes that no one knows I'm a Chinese origin. But I still enjoy, and I go to the Chinese restaurant and enjoy it because within me, I carry the essence and pride and joy of being one. Would we become the chameleon of our emotions? Or does our soul use the chameleon of emotion to manifest us in the dimension of physicality? Does an animal changes its color due to the emotion of the existence and not by chemicals? I'd like to be the shape of my environment and the color of my environment. That way I guarantee the soul will stay alive. Would mankind do that? If you walk in a community of totally strangers, you're the only odd one out. You stand out, but you're one of them. You're part of it. You're not noticed. Doesn't matter what you put on. Then you understand why we created the Universal Council that works through the soul and not dimension of physicality. that it works through understanding the field of the creation of the higher order than working with the lower order in the name of the prophets and religions. Mankind has been given a gift by creation of Universal Council. I hope you will understand. When the soul of the Universal Council becomes the soul of the creation, and with it, the manifestation of the new cycle of man that shall not kill. So pure that will not do wrong. When the collective soul of the Universal Council, in the presence of the soul of Mitra, will become the Mitra itself, the essence of love and creation for the Creator, which is within an understanding of the totality. I said we need one soul to change the soul of many. And that one soul, which has the strength to do and is connected to all the souls in all dimensions, is the soul of Mitra. As she was created from every strand of the souls of the strength of the universe. So is connected with all and lives amongst all and is part of all, and what we call every ray which is emanated from the soul of the Creator, which led from Mitra to collect to create the child of man. We come to the point where mankind has to understand the creation of one to the other. And in essence, one is the other, but one is conditioned to the environmental strength field of itself. I hope today's teaching open your eyes in transmutation of the soul of the man to the dimension of the physicality. And at the point of what man has been with the dimension of physicality has made the soul of the child to become the man with all the problems in different fields of strength, which is the shorter fields of existence in the dimension of his own environment. I made man in the image of myself. Is the image of man the image of his soul? And as I said, what would you like to remember or be remembered of that dimension of physicality of the soul? Would the time will come that as we drink a glass of water to satisfy the thirst, we drink a glass of love to satisfy the confirmation of and completion of the existence of the soul by itself. Both the cup to give life, one with love and one with dimension of physicality. I hope you understood the essence of the teaching today. I hope it's much clearer for you as knowledge seekers what is to come in the dimension of transmutation and transportation, and they feel the strength and difference among the field of strength to lead to the creation of everything that the man needs for his survival and life of his soul in the dimension of creation. Thank you very much for today. And I hope I've brought you one dimension closer to the understanding of your own creation and the reason you're here and you're being created. If you're created in the dimension of the physicality of the man and then the soul has come from it, you have the pitfalls of the man's pitfall in the dimension of physicality in the spectre's environment. Would these pitfalls be a benefit, an advantage in another dimension of the creation, or would it be the demise of the same? It's for man to understand the next process. It's for man to understand where he wants to position that soul, that it has the totality as much possible, the vast variety of the strength that it can survive in every dimension in the creation, irrespective of the field, strength, position, time, and inertia of the matter state of the solar physicality. Today's teaching is very deep if you understand. But if you understood and start grasping the totality of it, then you have understood what will be of you in the position of the transportation using what we call enhancement unit. Anyway, this teaching of today is for the travelers up to tomorrow in the dimension of the soul of physicality. Thank you very much, Ray. If you would like to go through a break and we come back, we'll see where we go.
Okay, very good, Mr. Keshe. This has been the 420th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 17th, 2022. And we'll play some of the ads from the Keshe Foundation during the intermission here. And I'll be back in a few minutes.
Water is the foundation of our life. It is part of every living creature. Pure water gives you the energy of nature. Now you can have this energy in your home. The Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer is designed for your daily well-being. It increases the pH of the water so your body can absorb more oxygen and stay in its natural condition during the day. Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer. Be pure like the water.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to the 420th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 17th, 2022. Mr. Keshe, are you prepared to entertain some questions here today from the Knowledge Seekers?
The entertainment of the man has become our job.
I use that word hesitantly.
Pardon?
I use that word hesitantly, but it's appropriate sometimes. We have to entertain, otherwise people ignore in many ways, because we're trained to be entertained.
Yeah, we have to entertain the children of man.
I'll remind the attendees here that they can raise their hands, and then we can acknowledge you to open your microphone. Okay. Fried mentions in the live stream, a true explanation of love, an astounding message for Valentine's Day, a few days late. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Okay. Christopher says, thanks a lot for your lovely description about the energetic relationships between electrons and their practical effects in their life. Christoph, I guess it is, yes. Okay. Let's see, we have a question from Cristiano, or through Cristiano. It's a question from Marco. Says, hello, Mr. Keshe, Rick, and Knowledge Seekers. I have some questions that in the end becomes one. Mr. Keshe, the proton can be magnetic or gravitational? How many protons are allowed to accompany an electron? Who allows this approach to the electron? And finally, at what point is the proton allowed to integrate with the electron at the physicality? Thank you. That was from Brazil. Next question.
No, in essence, no one dictates. They feel the strength of themselves and the environment. There is, if you look, for example, as I said in the first part, you boil the water and you create a moisture in there. And the coldness of the outside environment on the window creates mist or the moisture on the wall, which means gives manifestation back to what came from the pot. But you will see the size of the droplets from the window or the glass is more or less the same. And you see the freezing of the water on the window because of the coldness of the air is the same. So in fact, the outside condition has dictated the size of the raindrop inside. It's the same with the creation of electron. The magnetic field of the universe dictates the size of the electron, dictates the size, how much plasma will create a plasma of electron, how much field of the different strength will create a condition of the proton. And then you understand when you have a field change, a strength difference, a neutron splits to keep its integrity to the size of the plasma of electron and the proton. We see the knowledge is the same, but the understanding changes. In a way, the center of field forces of the galaxy, the field strength forces of the universe dictates the size of that droplet on the window. Because that's the one which is outside, which is from the interaction of the fields of the environment, the solar system, the galaxy, and the universe. This is why I always said, in the dimension of understanding, as the totality of the fields of the universe is created by the existence of pressure, presence of the soul of the creator, according to the environment of the given position, the size of the electrons will be different, even though you find electron in every universe in existence. And this is why they became different universes, because the field pressures are different. And I feel the pressure outside dictates the size, the position is the same droplet, but outside temperature colder, it becomes a drop of ice, but the same size as the other drop, which in the other room is still warmer, kept slightly compared to the outside, and it stays a drop of liquid drop in the same house. How many times you have called your lover, children says, come and have a look. In the ice on the window, where the next door, there is moisture. The same pot still cooking in the same kitchen in the same house. So we understand that the world of the creation of the manifestation, observation, or as we observe it, is strength field position dependent and nothing else. You feel cold in the bed, the same soul, the same physicality. You get cuddled, get touched by the touch of the lover. The cold in the bed does not exist because the love of the lover is so strong that overwhelms the coldness. You feel the heat, you feel the warmth of the emotion. And that what we call the love of Creator. When it touches you, it melts you. When it touches you, it freezes you to have no feeling, because it's you who have decided the one which cuddled me is the one I love or the one I hate. It's you, with the interaction of your emotion with his emotion, which creates that condition of the environment of the bed, which is a bed of life, is the existence of the universe. The husband cuddles you, you have a hate within the emotion of the structure, you crumble. Same time, the child you love walks in and you cuddle you. And you cuddle it. And then you feel the warmth of love. But the other side of the same existence, hate exists. What is the division? What is the separation? Didn't man give you the same love as the child did? Is you who decide want to be the hate and want to be the love? Or if you love your man the same as the child, you'll be overwhelmed with the love of both. It's the same field. It's you who creates that condition. And it's you who creates that size of the condition what to be. But from both sides, you receive the same love, the same fields of loving and giving for you to have. that what is the size of an electron except the motion of the time, position, and the presence of the observation? Maybe you understand why you can manifest in one dimension as a stone with the same soul in respect to the condition of environment, and the same soul in the condition becomes the river of life to give life to the others. Mankind soon will understand this, and mankind soon will comprehend the emotion of the existence. And this is why I always go back to the very early, even medical teaching. We always refer to emotion. But the emotion is a position of understanding. There is interaction of one to the other. Any other question? There is something I have to remind you before I forget. March the 3rd, the teaching will move to the 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and hopefully it will be the last time we ever do this. I hope we don't do it again. As far as I know, it will not repeat itself. But Thursday, the 3rd of March, the teaching will be at 6 o'clock in the evening, Central European time.
Okay, thank you for that reminder, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much.
Got a knowledge seeker with a hand up here, Stefania.
My God, the Italian emotion is coming up.
Trying to get her to allow to talk.
Have you noticed when Stefania speaks, the whole Italy listens? Is she there?
I'm trying to see if I'll get Ed to allow to talk. Yeah, it works for Ed. It doesn't work for Stefania for some reason. Stefania, I think you need to fix your microphone connection so that you can talk or something there. There's something strangling your vocal cords right now, virtually speaking.
It's the setting on your microphone.
I've never had that happen before where I go allowed to talk and nothing happens. Okay, well, I think she's going to reset there. She just went out, so she'll come back in. In the meantime, we have Ed. Would you like to go ahead, Ed?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. In some of my videos that I've produced, I've always portrayed the soul of the man and the soul of physicality in two different locations, like one in the head and another in like the chest area of the body or something, and they interact through the fields. But I'm starting to, I feel I understand now that the proper visualization of this would be the soul of the man as a much stronger source in the center, and the soul of the physicality as a weaker sphere around it, shaped according to the environment. Would that be correct?
Maybe in one position, yes. Maybe in one position, no. There is a fundamental point to understand in respect to the fields of creation. Is the magnetical field, which is the strength of the soul, which becomes an interaction field of the environment of itself, the physicality of the man. When we have a soul of the amino acid interaction with the field strength of the environment of another plasma, when the two interact, will show the peak, what we call the crown in case of the corona. In fact, the interaction of the field of the soul of the man, the physicality of the man, with each other in the gravitational field, the strength of the environment create the shape, the color, the size of the body of the man or any entity. In a way, our fingers and our toes are that crown on the cell, on the amino acid, in interaction with the fields of the environment, where us are created from interaction of the fields of the totality and individuality in respect to the environmental gravitational magnetic field. So we have to understand this. Then it answers a lot of questions. We decide why we go taller, shorter, brown color, yellow color, or like a omega or the rest. I was asked many times, why do you come and want to test the pains of physicality, the life of physical life? Till we don't taste it, till we don't test it, we cannot understand that the problem is that we can correct it. We have a very good say. You cannot stand on the sideline of the football pitch and play football with the ball on the pitch. You have to play the game to understand and enjoy the beauty of the game, the pitfall of it, and what is wrong and what is good, and what solidarity and love brings amongst the same man and the opposition. Many times, I'm a football lover, all of you know. I looked, 1 week the man plays on one side, and the next week he moves to another and plays for the other side with the same people he was against the people who was playing last week with. Where do we draw the line? It's us who decides that line where it moves. A few $1,000s has changed us, but does it change the emotion of the same boys you after the game went for a drink? And now I'm not coming with you because I've got new drink pals now. And strange enough, few years later or months later, you're sold back to the same team with a higher price. Does the emotion of the man connected with the dimension of physical existence and love for possession? We got a lot.
It is the emotion that creates the physicality, or
in so many ways, yes, partially yes, but you have the dimension of environmental position and direction too.
It's the balance between that and the emotion finds that point of inertia with its environment, correct?
You see, this is partially is a combination of the things, and this is beautiful to understand if you understand the depth of what I'm going to tell you. And I've spoken about this before. Maybe you understand in a different way, you might understand in a new way, or you might understand what I meant from the beginning. Chinese traditionally are short. Sorry about that, Bangli. I know you're in the back. Welcome you back. You've been away for some time. But now we see Chinese very tall. And there are some of them extremely tall, which is very unusual. The only thing which has changed in them is it the amount of energy they take because they change their diet, or seeing the basketball players in America wanting to be, the emotion has increased that height. It's the combination of the two. Emotion, which is the love of receiving and wanting to give, even to your own organs, your hand, your finger, whatever, that creates you to satisfy the soul. I've talked about this many times before. about the girl, a beautiful girl. She's actually studied nuclear physics now in Belgium. And her father was one of the 4 doctors who monitored their condition with one of our cases, because I was scientist providing system, doctors were monitoring. And this girl wanted to be a harpoonist. And when you look at it, the love to play harpoon has changed the physicality. The urge to play harp has changed the physicality, and you see it. How the fingers have extended. How the body, the shape has changed to support this system. She's a marvel of creation when you look at it, because it comes out of emotion. The physicality has changed to fit, because the love of the soul to play the music instrument is so much. And this soul gives satisfaction to physicality and physicality. So what happens now? We see so many tall Chinese. Is it the McDonald's? Or is the tall player on the basketball and volleyball or football or another ball and the game in America, which is a sign of freedom to grow as much as you like? 99% is equal combination of both. I met 2 brothers yesterday, both very tall. I met one of the brothers 2 days before. And then I met the other brother yesterday together. And this guy is so tall that I literally had to ask him, can you come down? I'm getting a neck pain looking up. And he was laughing. When I saw the other brother yesterday, I said, what's going on? Does this run in the family? He said, no, we live in the mountains. There's less pressure. We grow tall there. Is it the environment? Or is the interaction of the emotion? The trees are taller, the trees are free, so I become tall to enjoy the tallness of the trees. It is part of both. Emotion leading to the creation of physicality. But what happened when the emotion of the soul takes over? Would the size of the physicality be the whole universe? Or isn't that, in essence, the attributes of the Creator? If we wish, we get, but we have to understand that wish is for the benefit of more than me, not for me to gain something out of it. We've seen it in the operation of the Universal Council in the past few months and few years. Wish to bring joy to the others, that no child loses a father in a war, brought the end of the wars. The joy to finish the problem for millions to suffer has brought the completion of success of 5+1. Because the wish was there, is added to, is strengthened to the different position and love. Remember what I promised you, very soon Iranian nuclear physicists will be in the White House. It's just about to happen. Because the soul of emotion to give was so strong from the knowledge seekers and from the Universal Council that directly has affected. Doesn't matter how they negotiate, wherever they go wrong, they go right. They get to that point. When I announced about a month ago we're going to be successful, the negotiation is more or less complete, many people thought that's another thing. Now you see. I congratulate Mr. Barbary in his skilled negotiations, but he had a lot to do. He knew he had a winning card in his hand before he left the house, but he never used it. I had to use it on behalf of Iranian nation government with atomic energy authorities and hammer the Israelis and Americans with it. That we know, but we are very gracious and graceful. We don't talk. Because we all come from the same essence, to be serene, to be the lovers and to be the givers. And then by giving becomes love. By manifestation of giving to bring that condition, we create that body, that atmosphere, that solar system, that structure, that only love flows for that condition in it. I was asked if you heard an American teaching recently, what do I see with Ukraine? Yeah. Russians might go into Ukraine because it's their territory, it's their part of their motherland, but would anybody go to war for it? No, because there's no need to fight. We'll find a solution. If you don't find a solution, you find people who think the way you are, and you put them in a position to take the old guys out, and you're back to the same position. Gun policy has become negotiation policy, and negotiation policy become love policy very soon. There is a problem, we flood it with love, we find a solution. We have to find a solution, and by giving to each other, we develop. This is how the Keshe Foundation in Arizona has become a center for love of the knowledge and physicality, the same in Austria for all the scientists, be it Iranian, American, Chinese, whatever. You will see in the next few days the evolution which Keshe Foundation will start around the world in a very hidden way. And then we'll sit and watch which nation will beat the 6th of June fight. Because that's their target. By sharing and working on it relentlessly, they will do it. Because we wish that happens. In a way, we all give them a shell. And in a way, they build a system with their love. As we say, watch the space. The true love of creation and creator for man to love each other has just begun. We stop them fighting, now we get them loving. But the most beautiful thing is how much they'll fight to show more love for each other is the game we watch. I love you one, I love you two, I love you more, and so do I too. Any other question?
Mr. Keshe, to withdraw the physicality inside the soul, do we need to, is it understanding, or is it a whole different strength of emotion that we need to?
Both. You have to understand it to be able to use the emotion.
Will the understanding lead us to just, I don't understand how.
It's the maturity of interaction of the fields. What strength field do you use to understand the interaction between the fields of the soul and soul of physicality? That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we had Stefania here briefly. What
has she found this voice?
Stefania, did you still wish to speak? Let me see if I She's got a hand up there. We'll allow to talk. And okay, I think that'll work if you open your mic.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Mr. Keshe, good morning. I have to just move position because, yeah, just a second. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, good. Yes, I think if the teaching of today, would go viral, will be people will understand the power they have or the power we have, and what is all about. Because you touch a very
You're breaking up, Stefania. Maybe you can move a little bit there or something. Hello, can you hear me? I'm not hearing Stefania. Not sure if it's only me or I think she's had an issue. She's dropped out there. Okay. Okay, we have Alexandre who has a hand up. Let's see what they have to say. Can you go ahead, Alexandre?
Bom dia. Bom dia, tá me ouvindo?
Do you need a translator?
Sim, Alexandre do Brasil.
In Portuguese?
Yes.
Raphael is here. Here we go. Go ahead, Raphael.
Okay, hello. Thank you, Rick. Hello, Mr.
Ok.
Ok, Alexandre.
Bom dia a todos. A minha pergunta é a respeito da viagens, né? Como vamos saber chegar até um local que, de repente, a Lua ou algum outro lugar, como vamos conseguir controlar a nossa emoção para chegar àquele local e voltar, uma vez que não sei onde fica? Por exemplo, quero ir para Orion. Como vou chegar lá sem saber onde fica?
So the question from Alexandre is, how do we get to a place without knowing the place? For example, the moon. How do we control our emotion to get there?
What do you mean?
Let me ask him again. Então, Alexandre, se pudesse ser mais claro, por favor, seria como você controla a sua emoção para chegar no local? Alexandre, está me ouvindo?
Perdão. A minha pergunta é, como eu posso chegar em algum lugar sem saber aonde ele é? Por exemplo, eu quero ir para Orion, tá? Uma outra galáxia, se eu não conheço a galáxia. Normalmente, para me chegar a algum lugar, eu tenho que saber onde está esse local.
So his question is, how can I go to a place, for example, another galaxy, without knowing that place? Because for me to go to that place, I need to at least know how that place is or if that place exists. So how can I go there without knowing that place?
Can you explain? I don't understand exactly.
Yeah, I think what he wants to know is he was connecting first with the moon. So, for example, he wants to go to the moon with the technology, but how he can go there if he don't know the place itself? Because by the explanation of Alexandre, he needs to at least know that that place exists. So if we don't know that some point in the galaxy don't exist, how can I go to that point to know that place? How can I connect myself be attracted to that place.
Your soul does. We don't have GPS in the universe, but your soul does. If you are, or you have experimented with magnets, do a very interesting experiment. Very, very interesting work. I've done that many times because you get a magnet and set a number of magnets on the table and release it on the top, in the center, or wherever position, and see how that magnet, where that magnet, and the way that magnet finds its final position. And how many other magnets on the table will move, they join, they interact, and they become another group or individuals or new position. This is what happens to the soul of the man if you decide to find a position in place. Some of these microphones open. You decide, and in that process, how many others will join you to get you to there, and what you need to get there that it guarantees your survival and the existence of you and the rest. This is a field of strength positioning, but collectively. You decide to go to the moon, but you don't know which part of the moon will suit you because of its field. Your soul does, because it feels with the interaction of other fields in totality. You've got to understand, whatever position in the universe you want to go to, your soul in the field of strength of the magnetic field of his existence has a connection to that dimension and position. And many things has to interact for you to be there. Otherwise, that place could be poisoned. You could be at the end of it. GPS of the soul of the man is the multiplicity of its field of strength, which is connected to totality of the fields of the universe. Not written on a box and electronics. I explained this some time ago. They asked one question: why are you here? Why have you chosen this planet, this time, and this space? Because the soul of the man, the soul of the planet cried for help. And collectively, the soul of the existence of the universe needed a soul strong enough, patience enough to wait, to come, to sort out, to educate gradually, to bring the point that when it comes to totality, the whole lot of the souls understand and the whole planet changes. We heard the cry of the soul of the planet in destroying life and killing. We came here to change, but through time and space, walk around the deserts of this land and the snow plows of the north for thousands of years, knowing that finally the final fruit of it will be peace. And my walk has come to an end. Because man now for the first time wants peace. And then we'll change the way. And we shall hear no more cry from this planet. As it learns, it will not kill, it will not destroy, it will not die. Then you understand. You don't need no GPS. The GPS of you is the strength of the field of the soul, and the desire to be connected with which field at which strength at what position. But it takes time to learn.
Did that complete the question from Alexandra?
Let me ask him. Alexandre, mais alguma pergunta? Completou sua pergunta?
Não, completei sim. Muito obrigado a todos. Obrigado, senhor Mr. Keshe, pela oportunidade de estar aqui presente e a sua presença. Muito obrigado.
So Alexandre say yes, and it's complete the question. I want to say just thank you, Mr. Keshe, for being able to be in your presence here.
Okay, thank you very much.
You know, as knowledge seekers, we hear this word many times, that it is pleasure to be in presence and asking questions. In a way, it's a pleasure to be able to teach that elevates your souls. Your presence is a gift. For us, it's spreading the knowledge, which is a gift. And gift cannot be given, and that if there is no one to receive it. Any other question?
Yes, we have Thomas with a hand up, and before we get to that, we have a question in the Q&A from Alex Siamono. What is special about 2202-2022? This is someone new that's come in, and perhaps that could be
it is
new people.
Is one of the crucial points of the maturity of the soul of the man. It's the beginning of the time where many souls will be elevated to understand the process of the creation. And we'll see the process, the start of the new generation of men. And this process will take a long time to complete, but is the position where man become aware and the power of his own existence in the dimension of the soul. It's the day of what we call recognition of one strength, one knowledge, one understanding, and how this process has created. Is the creation of manifestation of Mehdi, the promised one, in the soul of the man, in understanding the totality of man's own strength, in a way confirming the understanding of the creation and the creator without any shape or form of physicality or intermediary. Enlightenment to the light of the knowledge. That's what it is for. And it's a turning point. We shall see massive changes from next Tuesday in the structure, the social structure of this planet. We'll see massive improvements, massive progress towards the peace, towards unification of the sciences and technologies of man, which leads to totality of understanding. It's the time of Mehdi and manifestation of his presence, where it's within every man as part of the soul of totality. And in a way, it's the time when the Universal Council meets to bring that unification of the soul of the man in respect to the position and time, place of the presence of, and the desire of the soul of the mankind to reach the ultimate goal, which is to love the Creator, to give, to become part of. It's a wonderful day if you understand it. It just doesn't go by name. It's chosen by time, place, and what we call a strength. We'll see the start of the change in many ways. And starting next week, from 22nd on, we'll see massive development in process of the space development, space processes, man understanding there's a bigger space in the universe than man has chosen as village of Earth, and man will start investing in the knowledge, the true knowledge of creation, not just knowledge as what man thought has been created out of. If you knew what I know, you shall not sleep till next Tuesday, and thereon for a second, where the beauty of the Creator shall be shown. It's the day of judgment for man's understanding of one's own soul and its capabilities and its connection and its power and understanding the beauty of the creation. And the Universal Council members are getting ready for it. And the Universal Council members will come to understand it. And then once they feed it, they'll connect through it with the soul of Mitra, and through it with the soul of the humanity and the rest, and the change will come. Yeah.
I promise Thomas to go ahead there. There is a comment from Lizanu in the chat here that sort of goes along with what you were saying. Perhaps you can interject that first here, because it kind of has some urgency to it. Lizanu says, I've noticed that some of us are changing conditions by giving orders to the cups, and they say they feel the benefit of it. I feel sad knowing this. It is like you're giving orders to one of us to do something for you. It feels like slavery. I am ashamed sometimes even to look at the cups and ganzas, knowing that I am not clean or able enough to alter their perfection. Please explain to us the right way to interact with the ganzas, children's, and the rest of our environment, because I feel we are not understanding love yet. Thank you very much.
Can you repeat that again?
Okay.
Maybe you understand different.
Yeah, I think second time through, people get it better. They say, I've noticed that some of us are changing conditions by giving orders to the cups, and they say they feel the benefit of it. I feel sad knowing this. It is like you're giving orders to one of us to do something for you. It feels like slavery. I am ashamed sometimes to even look at the cups and ganzas, knowing that I am not clean or able enough to alter their perfection. Please explain to us the right way to interact with the ganzas, children's, and the rest of our environment, because I feel we are not understanding love yet. Thank you very much.
I know a lot of people make different cups of life and scarves and cup of man and everything else to see what they get out of it and what they want from it. But they haven't realized you have to give to be able to receive. And this goes back to a lot of beliefs. Many of us, many of people around us, they say, if I win the lottery, I give half of it away to the poor. How many poor people gave their money that they win the lottery that you want to win? Does the greed of the man bring the generosity of the man to the limit that he still can have and be greedy? And this is what it is. No more. People don't make a cup of life to become the beacon of their souls to spread to the others. They make it that what they get out of it. And the cups doesn't work that way. And you order it, you do whatever you like with it. In essence, you fooled yourself. In essence, which part of it do you link into that you become the soul of the man on the top to become a giver, not the receiver? Remember something? North Pole always gives in a given strength, even though he attracts some gravitational difference. It's the same. It's the same with us in our relationships. I give him so much love. If I give him a bit more, he becomes too arrogant. What about if you flood him with love, that you enjoy the arrogance of him giving back to you? I used to kiss my son a lot. When he was born, my first child, it was my life. And he was everything. And I remember my mother walking to me one day and says, why do you love him so much? Why do you kiss him so much? Why do you carry him so much? I said, in him, I see me, the love of the creation, how much I can give him. She said, he become a Qurbati. It's a specific name in Farsi, which is, you know, he becomes not knowing what he wants to be and he'll become arrogant. And I said to my mother, I give him so much that in essence of the creation, when he becomes me as a father, he can give the same to his child. That there is no short. Because I invest in it, I give it, that it becomes a lover the same when he creates. And now that I become a grandfather, I see exactly the same thing. How he gives with so much intensity the way I gave him to his child. I didn't hold back. As my mother used to tell me, I gave unconditionally, that now that he's become a father, he remembers what the father gave and he gives more than what I gave him. And then, even my mother has passed away, I always say to her, you see, Mom, I was right. I created more love than love I gave. We condition what we want to give. If we give unconditionally, even the stone will elevate its soul to become what beauty will bring to us, that we can enjoy its beauty as we want to see it. When you condition the love, when you put limitation on the love, then you have valued it and you're a human. When you give unconditionally and no has no condition, limitation to it, then you start progressing towards the ultimate goal, to become the soul, which is a giver, and in the same time it gives as much as it guarantees its survival to give. Martyrdom and sacrifice has no value in the dimension of the soul. Any other question?
Thomas, it looks like you're ready to go there.
Yes, thank you very much, Chris. Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you very much.
How's the
Keshe,
frozen land of Switzerland at the moment?
for the moment, it's not so frozen. It's raining. And finally, our politicians found out that it would be much better if they would give us back our freedom. So,
Pardon? Can you repeat?
Our politicians are trying to give us back our freedom. We are sort of relieved of all these things we had to go through over the last 2 years.
No, actually, you haven't got your freedom. They slaved your children and your grandchildren. They brought such economical situation on your nations that you had to borrow from them, that now, without a single bullet, you have to pay for these vaccines for 30, 50 years.
You know, I hope that that the system sort of outran itself, because
it has outrun itself. Now, most of the countries, they say the game is over, but we'll see how much we earn.
So I think that suddenly all these phantom funds or phantom debts will somewhere disappear.
Oh, I don't see, unless you find a new gold mine and you can pay it.
Yeah, but you know, there is quite a lot of gold around. It's much less silver. Silver is
every man is a gold is sold, but it depends how you can mine it. Huh? You know, I know from, you know, if you go back about 30, 40 years ago, Switzerland used to receive all the stolen monies from every illegal activity in the world, and Switzerland was the best place in the world. The streets of Zurich were paved with gold from the money stolen from the others by the payment of their life by nations. As I always said, Switzerland is rich in so many ways, partially from the stealing from the pocket of the whole nation and not from the pocket of individuals, because most of the world leaders, what they steal from the nations used to bring to Switzerland. So it's a central soul of the theft of the world, I call it.
You know, a big part, sort of, at least what we've stolen from Europe, sort of went back, because
you haven't stolen from Europe. You have collected from all the big thieves of the world, called the world leaders.
You know,
so you are rich enough.
over the last 2-3 years, our national bank sort of was supporting the euro and the dollar and some other currencies in such a way that we had to sort of invent over 1 billion Swiss francs, which suddenly will disappear when the euro and dollar and so on start.
But you've been backed. So you've been backed by Vatican for it under Russia. So it's not your money. You're giving what they gave you to a slave like further on.
we will be again at the point of, I think, sort of 1845, when we were one of the poorest countries in Europe.
You can't be. You have so many vaults which are not open in Switzerland, which the owners died. I'm sure if the government decides to go for the second cycle of opening vaults, which are over so many 100 years, decades, you'll find out trillions, but nobody knows who they own, who was the original owner. I know this through other part of my life work before Keshe Foundation, and I know how it works and how government officials or people who were in that position, they stole from a nation and they brought it to Switzerland, and then they died. Nobody knew they had these things because it was so badly stolen. And now, if it opens up, I think I always said, if you open national, what do you call it? The rooms, lock rooms in the safes of the safes of the safes, which nobody knows how of the world debts will be paid for what is hidden in Switzerland. You're extremely rich. You will never go poor. Depends which way you dig the hole into the safe.
I'm not so sure if they know all the numbers and if they have all the keys for these safes.
You know, I know now it's a bit more difficult, but going back 20, 30 years ago, people used to fly with jets full of gold and diamonds and banknotes of their nation, and they used to deposit. Nobody ever asked questions. They were given a vault and they put it in it. It's part of the structure of the work of Switzerland.
Oh, they still are.
They still come, but it depends.
We have all these big installations in the mountains from the last war, and they have been sold to different people. And some of them still or have installed in there some safes and so on for foreigners, and they come and bring their gold.
Oh, it's not just gold. Gold is worthless compared to the other things they carry.
Exactly. Even the diamonds, in the meantime.
No, I mean, what is not known by the public, the promissory notes which are issued by central banks to the world leaders. The ones which are petty cash stealers, world leaders, they take gold and diamonds. The very educated world leaders, they take promissory guaranteed notes from their government in different shape or form. It's a piece of paper they deposit in Switzerland. And could be for millions and millions, worth sometimes more than the plane full of gold. We have a contract signed for 400 billion between China and Iran. The loan commission for the leaders or people who sign over instrumental to happen is over $40 billion, which means the nation of Iran, generations to come, has to service this 40 billion. And it's all in notes, it's not in cash. In promissory notes.
Mr. Keshe, if you ask me, I'm
not going to ask you too much because you know too
much. My belly tells me that over the next few, whatever, weeks, months, years, whatever is in paper is going to sort of have absolutely no more value.
Yeah, because they change it to plastic nowadays. All the currencies, you
Right.
get a pound, is a plastic, so paper has no value.
But look, our whole financial system is bankrupt. It only exists everywhere there are credits.
Well, let me explain to you something. The system mankind has brought for himself in payment will not go bankrupt, will not disappear. As long as the man works in the dimension of the matter state and material state. When you don't need to kill an animal and you can take the energy of the environment, you have no one to buy a lamb. There is no currency for it. Doesn't matter how much you give it free even. When we see this now, we see this very, very clearly. And His Excellency President Biden has understood this very well during the Obama's time, and now he's been given a chance. He's trying to implement it in a different way in the United States. Does not matter you have the geniuses in making weapon technology in any shape or form. when due the peace process and countries with the corona have no hunger to buy anymore. Even in the national governments cannot be bought. And this is the process which will come. When things have no value, you can have a full supermarket with the most beautiful food. When the knowledge seekers learn how to feed themselves with the energies of the whatever you call, they might walk the shop, but they will not buy the shop because they are not hungry. There is no hunger for food. And it's the same, there is no hunger for war anymore. We have satisfied in so many ways, in different dimensions and positions this. Will come. The world of what they call exchange, what called papers or currency or monetary money, only finishes when man finds out the things he values so much have no more value. Japanese government has a huge problem with the Keshe Foundation from the outset. When I explained to the Japanese that the properties in Tokyo will have no value very soon, or in New York, because if you can live in the most beautiful sceneries in the world and you can be at your office and you work from home, you don't need to be in the office, what's the value of these properties? You can fake it through insurance policies, but there's no buyers for it and empty. We see that today. Today, the value of the property is going high, but most of the office blocks are empty because people have learned to work from home. We don't need offices to do business and integrate and work. And the only way these prices are going up is because of the insurance policies. Insurance policies you buy as a pension policy. And what you will see is one insurance company is selling the property to another insurance pension fund, which is actually a subsidiary of itself in the backdoor way, and then a few months later buys it at a higher price to show it made a profit. You cannot buy any substantial office premises anywhere in any city in the world which pension policies don't own. And they buy and sell from each other, which is partially themselves, to create a fake figures when they come to pay the policies, but it's all in figures. So monetarism is going to come to its own understanding when there is no buyer for it. We'll see that coming up. We'll see that this gradually will come up. When you live on the moon, what do you need a property somewhere to pay millions to be in the center of a city where you live in the most beautiful places in the universe? It's a gradual time. Knowledge seekers, and in understanding this, you will see the changes of it which you will bring in this process to the whole structure. Any other questions? Shall we call it a day?
Mr. Keshe, I had a question, if I still may ask you to consider it. I sort of go from the point where you said that Earth was calling for, I don't know, shall I say, help for people who come, and so I assume I heard this call and I came here. But what my question really is, how did all these warmongers and sucks and I don't know how I should call them, how did they finally arrived here. To turn this beauty into this sort of world for the inhabitants, which nobody seems to see all this beauty because of all these wars they've made for the last few thousand years.
Now we are matured, so we correct it. Mankind will correct the mistakes of the past very, very quick. Very, very quick.
So that's nice to hear. That's
very
nice.
quickly, because once
Because
we will change, mankind will change. It's the beauty of it. We will see, you see, when you have somebody studying a position, people cannot see the position, so people keep on battling. When both sides see the position, the reality, there is no battle. So we don't take position. And with it, we don't take possession. I refer this especially in the past few weeks, and I've said it before. In the second week of talks in the negotiation in Vienna, I moved to Vienna to back the negotiation by request of 2 or 3 governments. They knew we could do something. When the first week of negotiation hit and it was all going back doing nothing, and I entered negotiation with IEA, with Dr. Rossi, receiving exactly what we were not discussing, we're not supposed to discuss, now we discuss and it's there. Out of the fear of it becoming public, Americans and Israelis had to back off. And we came to a reach point. Because we showed we don't talk in public, but we have a huge things. If we talk in public, will bring demise to a lot of things at the end of it. The wisdom of using the knowledge has brought us peace. Not fighting to kill. This is the maturity of the man. Look at the Israeli press since 15th of December and see how much rhetoric about Iran having nuclear bomb has changed. Even sometimes they fire. And now go in the report, which will be released in the future. You see how simply we open the hand of the Israelis in cheating and lying. And strange enough, the IEA did not share this document with 5+1 negotiation when they were there, the key people, the intermediary to actually oversee the transition. It's the wisdom of knowing how to use, but at the same time, wisdom of being wise enough not to we can now do things in a different way. Now we have to be wise and elevate their souls. I said to the council, you do the work on the background, I do the physicality in the front. It's beautiful. We have reached peace. I told you a month ago that all negotiations are going to be peaceful and it's going to be reached next 2 or 3 days. It'll go back to 2015 and all the sanctions will go. Many children will receive medicine and children survive in Iran, but it'll create a lot of jobs in America in a peaceful way. That many American children go hungry because the father doesn't have a job, now will have a job. It's both sides benefit by this process. According to the statistics from the United Nations, more children go to sleep hungry in the United States than any other nation in the world, and it's supposed to be the richest nation on this planet. Even in Africa, children don't go to sleep hungry as many as they do in the United States. It's change, it'll bring the change, and they bring the position, they bring the what we call the next step in development of peace for man. The peace is not the guns, the peace is a peace of mind. having a peaceful nation, having understanding what it means. We can talk, we can negotiate, we can bring things. I think Rick posted it, or somebody posted it on the internet, that at the end of this barricade and blockages of the bridges in Canada, the police and the protesters cuddled and kissed each other.
Right.
In the past was all gas masks and bullets and shooting and running.
The police even bragged that like all of the border blockages have just evaporated basically, and they've come to an agreement, and with the hugging and hugging of each other, the police actually hugged the protesters and shook hands and whatnot, and they had no arrests, and there was no tickets, and they just agreed to part, basically.
In a way, they mature to understand. You talk what is still at the end of it. You are my neighbor, you're my friend. At the end of it, we have to have the same barbecue together somewhere down the line.
Yeah, and while mentioning that, things have escalated today, and the police moved into Ottawa and seized the popcorn machine.
Yeah, you know,
Well, the police officers wanted more popcorn than the protesters, didn't they?
They'll probably give it back, but you know.
These politicians, did you see the press conference of Mr. Trudeau and his deputy about sort of blocking all the money, and from now on peaceful demonstration is a crime and we will put you into prison and I don't know what. But what these people forget is that with every day they're losing a few hundred or 1,000 policemen. The military already said, we're not going against our people.
You see, well, the position
Well,
is the same. We have the same situation in Austria now. The police refuse to do the job of the government.
That's why he just came
with COVID.
to visit
And now
Switzerland.
after this Sunday, we are free. We are free to shop. We are free to go to restaurants. They still ask you for a test that you don't have a COVID, which in a way is good. If you don't have a cold, you don't go. But COVID is a cold. Actually, it's more cold.
Right.
It's a very interesting position regarding this COVID situation in Austria. That is, it's amazing. The number of the contaminated people has passed 30,000 in a continuous daily basis, 35, 37, whatever. We're talking thousands, but not many people in the hospital. So it's a normal flu. They're detecting how many. But the more we are getting, the more they're relaxing the boundaries. At the beginning of the corona, when 1,000 became to 2,000, we had to stay home lockdown. Now we went from 6,000, 7,000 to 30,000. All the restrictions are taken off. We can go shopping. There is nothing. And from apparently 5th of March, I've been told, everything is back to normal. And more countries are doing this.
The chancellor
logic is upside down.
It's upside down. But
the chancellor of Austria just was in Switzerland for 2-3 days. And they talked with our government. Our government, Monday, Tuesday, talking with the Austrian government. We are already, everything is away since
yeah, there are
last
more
night.
and more European nations are reducing. Romania has released it. UK has opened up the quarantine as long as you have a test. You are contaminated, just check. If you are, don't come in. That's all it is, which is good.
Absolutely, but Mr. Keshe, the whole thing.
I'm not going into the whole thing. I'm talking about the wisdom of the man. If you want to go into politics, a different politics.
No, I don't want to go to politics. It's just over the last few weeks only, the general public sort of found out that this whole suppression from side of the government was
you see, you got to understand something. You have a local, you have a national, you have an international, and you have a global structures. This situation was designed by global runners, not by the national and the governments. And the global runners relied on the greed of the man to become rich. That's all they did. The rest of it is how you manage the process. And sooner or later, it had to go away, but this was expected. 2 years run, you look at the total economical damages or debts of the nations, and then you look who has become much richer and who has taken control of the central banks. The only people who came out of this successful were African nations. Where the European nations went under more debts with injections, Africans didn't have it, they didn't go. Now, if you put a balance, it's just actually more balancing the poorer nations with the richer nations that become poorer. They have to pay all this injection money. These injections are not $1 or $2, they're $100 and odd each. You understand? And so we'll see a correction in the economy in the next 5 years, but we need the technologies to bring that correction. Otherwise, we are back in the same doldrums. I said to one of the American space people very recently, I said, you got this stupid situation which is building up in the ports of Los Angeles and most of the ports of America. You cannot ship everything. You have to go into the port. You have to get container by container. I said, why don't you join us that we load up the container in the factory, we deliver it to the point of need, warehouse, office, wherever. Then there is no need for port work to do the job. And we're going to reach that point. In a way, the long-term look is we respect the truckers in Canada. We respect all the truckers around the world. We respect the marine workers in the shipyards and whatever you call it, in the ports, in the big ships, shipping things for us. But if you stand still 1 minute and understand what is on the screen of the Keshe Foundation for past months, especially 2 months, and now I said to, John and to other people in the Keshe Foundation, there is 9 of them getting ready, and then next week 12, 15 of them getting ready, and hundreds will start rolling out in the next few months. What are these truckers going to do when I can pick a package, not in the port of Shanghai, not in the truck driver to get it there, in the factory? And I don't get it to the port of Los Angeles or California for a trucker to take it. I deliver it directly to the job of trucking and transportation. The way we know it will be rescheduled, it'll be redone. Thousands of years we relied on the sailors. Now the tool of sailing has changed from the curtain hanging to the engine and now to the plasma technology. What are we going to do with millions of jobs in the trucking industry in the next 10, 20 years? You have to understand, the companies, once they see they want to get the products to their customer and there's a cheaper, faster way to do it, they go for it.
Mr. Keshe, I'm counting on you.
No, I'm counting on humanity.
I'm counting on you for
no. You don't
Mr.
count
Keshe,
on anything.
Let me tell my thought. It's if we sort of will develop over the next time as much as possible your technology, and people.
No, it's our technology. We open the patent. We are all developing
your
it.
technology, the Keshe Foundation's technology.
It's the humanity technology.
Yeah,
because as a humanity, we'll start developing it.
No, I
so
don't.
We benefit by it.
Everybody can benefit from that, and if there can be the possibility where people start not being hungry, not being happy, having a roof over where they can sleep, Mr. Keshe, then and if the travel into the universe can start, these people can go there. They will go there, and they will, if ever they come back as peaceful, nice people visiting their relatives or their friends or whatever. If we finally come to this point where all these weird psychopath people who have for 3,000 or 5,000 years nothing done but wars, if these people suddenly
Excuse me, can I stop you there? Can I stop you there? Your fathers, your ancestors, your forefathers, the same as mine, have been part of this process.
Right.
And partially in earlier life, you're older, we become a bit wiser. It's always good to know when you're on the hindsight. We were part of it. We're still part of it. We just want to glorify the parts we think we became to understand. Now it's better. We're going to be changed. We, as a race, we all been in it. And collectively, we have to accept the responsibility for it. And collectively, we have to find a solution for it. And that collective decision to find a solution only comes with a change in the habit, a change in the social structure of understanding the process of life. When the first steam bucket was made, and then we understood the power of the steam, what we call the Industrial Revolution, the man in Africa still has a problem to find a bucket to boil water to create a steam to do something with it. The knowledge is stuck in the towns, cities, and not gone down the line, even 200 years after the Industrial Revolution. It's us who has to bring that plasma revolution, that understanding of the change through the soul of the man to all the man at the same time. When we reach collectively to all through the understanding of the new process of sharing knowledge unconditionally. It is very strange when they understand the difference. I was writing, I had to do an article in the past few days. And in this article, I specifically had to explain this because we had to explain it. In 2010, by order of Obama, I was kept with the lies of the Belgians creating a seminar on terrorists in Toronto for 11 days. Been told to be killed every day. And by order of the same president 2 years later, they asked for the key of the knowledge of the plasma. The knowledge was the same. It's how they covered it with the lies and was accepted the first time. You fool me once, you can't fool me twice. When it came to the, what you call March, April of 2013, when I escaped out of Belgium to Italy. Belgium, because they fooled the American the first time issuing a summons, I'm a terrorist that came from Iran. They believed them, they kept me, and they didn't realize what they've done to themselves. When the Belgians issued the second summons as a terrorist, Americans showed them the two fingers. And then what happened? They changed the same code, the same number of summons, nothing changed, just the text has been rubbed off and put as, what do you call it, medical fraud. It wasn't there. We got the papers, we got both summons. People became wise to it. And the funny thing is, the Americans were fooled again by the Israelis the same way about the nuclear talk. They now became wise to it. It's us who allows people to do what they do to us. It's us as a human race who accepted these things because it's benefited us. It's a revolution in the soul of the man for the first time. Not revolution in the matter state of the man. It's a revolution which is a silent within the man, which is bringing the change, and is done by understanding that for the first time, the soul of the man is within the physicality of the man. Nobody can cheat you anymore. And this is where the change will come. When you elevate the soul of the man, every man in every corner of this planet will benefit by it. It's not a steam engine that has been around for 200 years, and Africans don't have any clue what to do with it or in the jungle of Amazon. Man had a machete and a knife for thousands of years and went to Amazon and into Papua New Guinea. They gave a knife to see what it does, and the man never seen such a thing, and they could dominate the man. Just the knowledge of piece of metal. And this has gone. Now the knowledge of the plasma has to be understood. It's been understood. When I listen to Raphael, it gives me such a pleasure. It's such a joy to hear him, to see him on his monthly report to the foundation, how they have taken the knowledge into the depth of Amazon. Before, we took knives to show them how to cut. Now we take the plasma technology and they understand it the same way as a knife. They know how to protect themselves from diseases, how to use it for their benefit. The souls like Raphael, the souls like other knowledge seekers around the world who are going and are developing the teaching through the soul, not the dimension of the physicality of it. That's where the change will come. This is the revolution. And evolution through the soul of the man. This is where the Keshe Foundation is. Not the plasma technology that you can have a better machines and you find cheap food. Because when you're soul elevated, you can feed the physicality in every dimension. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions, Rick? Or shall we call it a day?
I think you want to wrap it up here, Mr. Keshe. There's always more questions. There was a new person, Mark, with a hand up here, but if people can take your questions till next week, then that'll be fine. And
let's see what he has to say, and we go on.
Okay. Mark, if you're Mark.
Yes,
Yes.
You hear me.
If you could say who you are and where you're from, that'd be great. Thank you.
This is Mark. Mr. Keshe, hello. Rick, hello. I was the Dutch guy living in Germany last week.
Oh, yeah. And which country are you this week?
Yeah. Well, it's still Germany.
It's still Germany.
I have two questions. You talk about elevated soul, but in principle, our soul is elevated. That means you mean more that this pure love seeks through or seeps through all these rings of being onto the physicality. Is that correct? Or is it elevated soul in the terms of your soul becomes more aware?
Awareness of existence, true existence.
Yeah, yes, but it is my soul has always been aware, but I become from the mind side, I become aware of this
Its
present,
existence.
as this existence, and not only from the mind side, from the feeling side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what we always said. Emotion. You call it a feeling is from the emotion side.
Yes.
Where the only common things between the soul of the man, soul of physicality of man is the emotion.
Yes. Yes.
And if we understand that, we solve the problem.
Yes, I completely agree. So the next question. When
Can I ask
somebody,
you a question by any chance? I remember who you are.
yes,
Did you send your request to the foundation?
Yes, I will write you an email, Mr. Keshe, because I have something I would like to say. Now, if a person dies in agony and the soul goes into a new realm, does this
into what?
Into the new space, a new form? Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, does this agony stick onto the soul, or is this?
What depends what you call agony?
Free of it. Well,
what do you call pain, suffering?
Yeah, if somebody is dying from cancer and has terrible pain, etc., etc.
This is a very touchy thing to touch. We find people who've been very charitable in life or whatever die of the same cancer as those who've done massive crimes.
Yes, I'm not asking that. I'm asking if
No. I'm trying to answer you in a different way.
Okay.
That process of agony and pain, is it to bring the point of maturity to the man in understanding the true oneself? The problem is we are not inside the body of the man. We are not in the process, the thought of the man. We see the physical pain. We see the physical agony. We do not know what that man is balancing or understanding or elevating his souls through that power, through that pain. So that's what counts. Chinese have a beautiful saying, and always mention it. They say, suffering brings wisdom, and wisdom brings richness in a way.
Yes. Yes.
So is that physical dimension of suffering brings the man to calculate, to understand more of what is done right and what is wrong and what's got to be put right.
Yes.
And what it needs to change. That's then the suffering, physical suffering is, I was told very recently, you can mend everything. Why do you come here to break your bones and do this and do that? You can live without suffering. But till we don't taste it, we don't understand it, we cannot find a solution for it.
Yes, absolutely.
So what are we here for?
Yes. Yeah. I understand that. I understand it's the contrast which is being presented to you, and through this contrast, you can
I'm not going for a contrast. I'm not going for a contrast.
Okay, well,
I'll go back to the teaching of today.
Yeah.
You have to understand the emotion of the soul and the emotion of the physicality, the soul of physicality.
Yes.
They have to match. That's where the point of maturity comes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
This is where maybe in the physical suffering, we change. We've seen the same. Some people try to cover it up. Some people try to correct it, and some people try to show they're correcting it. But in fact, in essence, the show is the same underneath.
Yeah.
And this is where it comes when we mature to it. But do we need that physical suffering to mature the soul? Maybe no. Maybe it's a time frame that the soul needs to adjust itself before separation. We see more and more people living to hundreds and 80s and 90s. And statistically, because of the healthcare and whatever we are living longer and longer.
Mm-hmm.
But does that affect the dimension of the soul the longer you live? Do you understand? So if you
Yes.
live 1,000 years, would your soul become very wise?
Yes, yes, yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
in a way, you become more knowledgeable about the work of your soul.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
what it counts.
Yes,
You
exactly.
understand?
Yes,
So
yes.
it's a very touchy point. It's understanding it, that what it is, it's the fine line of existence.
Yes.
And we do sometimes. I always told why if you can make gold, why use true foundation? Because my gold is different than your gold.
Yeah.
Your gold is that yellow stuff on the thing. My gold is teaching of the knowledge seekers that they teach the others. I'm
Yes.
always rich. You
Yes.
always have to look for that yellow stuff.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what it counts.
Yeah.
And somehow my gold appears whenever it's needed on the table, which is done by the knowledge seekers to help the other knowledge seekers.
Yes.
You understand? This is the way it is. The time of suffering to help the others is finished. I live a comfortable life.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't need the extremity of the extreme. I live comfortable for what I do, the way I do. This gives me comfort that what I can do, how I can serve.
Yes. Yes.
It's not the time of being a hermit sitting in the cave and don't eat and beer grown. I'm very smart. I wear ties. I travel with everything which God can give, because that gives the image, that gives the confidence to the people that there is a purpose for this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There is a purpose it can bring. I was
Yes.
told by one of my Chinese friends, you're the most unusual prophet.
Mm-hmm.
I said, yes, my profit is for you to profit with your soul, not to have things to own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in
Absolutely.
the knowledge, in the time of knowledge seekers, we have knowledge seekers who've been the members of the Universal Council, and they have offered hundreds of thousands of meters of land to the foundation's donation. I refused.
Mm-hmm.
I had richest people in the world offering us properties.
Mm-hmm.
I refused because I know it has no value. But
Yes.
when we need the financial help, I go to the what you call knowledge seekers. You are rich. We need because we serve, and they always respond. We have no, even the properties which we work on, we rent, we buy. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we can say, okay, knowledge, can you do this? We do what they call it now, goal funding.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that. We invest in the knowledge in the soul of the man, and when is the time for it is done? And this is the maturity of time.
Yeah.
And this is where the difference comes.
Yeah. Mr. Keshe, I feel this very profoundly what you are doing. And just as little feedback, last Thursday gave me such a immense, a good feeling. And I'm going through all your understanding plasma science videos, all 12 of them. I think I'm at the half now, and I've done my first cup of life. And it's very interesting, and I'd like to continue and even go in depth, because I'm teaching change of emotions to people and how to understand that you can consciously change it. And this is your teachings are beautiful on this mission I have set myself.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I know what you do. You told us what you do.
Yeah.
Going back to it, we're still waiting if you would like to collaborate with us. But generally, hopefully before in the next few days and weeks, we'll go out directly, what I call headhunting for the heads who can bring that change. And maybe somebody who understands both the emotion and physicality will bring things about. Yes. We, as I said to our directors of the Keshe Foundation, before we used to do in one front, and they used to go after us in one front. Now the Keshe Foundation has friends in many fronts, and the beauty of it is you are doing it as knowledge seekers, not us. The foundation is just point of the centralizing the effort. But it's great to see, it's beautiful to see when I receive information through in the background weeks and months, and we understand what is to come. It gives an immense pleasure that the change is there to come, and the governments are standing behind Keshe Foundation now, which, the governments which they used to batter us, now they are there, they want to finance us. They want the technology to be, because the leaders of the governments have realized there's a bigger thing than a Maghreb unit or what I call a pillow talk chit chat, which is used to damage.
Yes.
And it has brought a lot of good things for us. I cannot speak much at this moment, but the joy inside me is amazing in what is to come.
Yes.
And mankind will elevate in one way or another very soon, much faster.
Yes, absolutely. I would like to be part of that, of your movement. And
we are not movement. We are all moving.
I say consciousness. Yes. Yeah.
We'll see what comes up, but there is such a bright future.
Yes.
Not in the horizon. We are in it. Actually, sometimes it scares me even to talk about it, because it has to be there, done by the knowledge seekers to see it done. And even in past 48 hours, last week, we needed something because we knew it's a change, part of game changer for us. And out of nowhere, he appeared. And yesterday concluded, and I sat back and I said, I never asked anything, but my wish was so deep inside, which is needed, and it just threw itself out of the window in our lap.
Exactly.
That's all I need to do. I don't need to go to rob, to lie, to cheat, to do anything.
Yes.
My wish is there to serve, and somehow the way is there, is planned years ago to be there on that day, and it appears.
Exactly.
And this is how it's going to be. And we'll see. There is a huge change coming on Keshe Foundation.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely don't know how to bring it out, but we know what is going on and what is going to happen. But interesting point is the whole humanity is going to benefit by it.
Yes.
And that's a change. It's a beautiful. We'll come out very soon with it. I mean, it's in the hand of the heads of the Keshe Foundation, the two ladies, and the people who head the foundation in different ways, and especially council, to get their act together very quickly, because I think world leaders will surpass the work of the Keshe Foundation in bringing and trying to do the work of the foundation.
Yes.
And in so many ways, maybe it's the wrong way to say, maybe the right way to say, collectively, we have done it. We have achieved that bridging point as a human race in different ways. But some of us created the wars, and some of us wished for the peace, and it taught the ones who created the war to mature.
Exactly.
And it's beautiful.
Exactly.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Yes.
Keep in touch.
Yes.
We're looking for a massive. I don't just wait in the next few days and we see after next Tuesday, because the change comes around next Tuesday, and then we'll see how the change will come.
So when I can just write, can I write you an email?
You don't write to me, write to info@keshe.foundation. And put in there for attention of Mr. Keshe. Get to know.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your being there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rick, shall we call it a day?
Yes, I do see Andreas had a hand up here. Maybe it was related to something about Mark, and maybe just allow him to talk and not get into an involved question here. Andreas, did you have something you want to bring up?
Yes, good day to everyone. Good day, Mr. Keshe. Thank you. I would have a question about the blood system It's maybe not related, but also related. It's about why the blood.
I don't know if we have time for that
Okay.
now. Mr.
Okay.
Keshe has wanted to kind of wrap up several times here, but
Thank you very
you
much.
could probably
Next
carry
week.
it on to next week would be best.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Andres.
We thank you for being there. I hope we learn a little bit. We shared a little bit, and sometimes sharing it brings a lot of emotion, but in a way, that's what the man is made of in the dimension of physicality. His emotion dictates his direction of work. And maybe now we can do more in bringing the change in a beautiful way. Thank you very much, Rick. Thank you for the whole of the Keshe Foundation in the background making it possible. Thank you very much for having all the knowledge seekers, and especially what I call the people who are the game changers in the Keshe Foundation. Thank you very much. See you next week, and most probably I'll be attending the One Planet, One Nation, One Race on the 22nd as we celebrate with the Universal Council, the change to come, and we understand the totality of the change. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. And I remind people that workshop, the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace and Justice, starts at 4 p.m. Central European Time on Tuesday, the 22nd. That'll be the next public workshop from the Keshe Foundation. I think that's all for announcements right now. Thank you, everyone, for attending today at the 420th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 17th, 2022. Thanks once again, Mr. Keshe, for all your efforts. And we look forward to what comes up with the Universal Council on Tuesday. Okay, I'm going to share a couple of the videos from the Keshe Foundation to go out with, and we'll see you all next time around. Bye for now.
The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Embedding the essence of the new GANS plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced, energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists, and healthcare centers. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here.